Have you ever looked at a map of the United States and noticed something odd? Between the busy cities of San Francisco and Portland, two of the most populated places on the West Coast, there's an enormous area that's almost empty. Why? Why is this vast stretch of land so underpopulated? Today on Mind of Maps, we explore the empty West, a huge, scenic, and strangely quiet part of America that has resisted the waves of urban growth sweeping across the rest of the country. Let's dive in. 2. When we say empty West, we're talking about Northern California and Southern Oregon. This includes counties like Shasta, Siskiyou, Trinity, and Humboldt in California, and Josephine, Klamath, and Douglas in Oregon. It's a massive region, thousands of square miles, yet the population density is incredibly low. While San Francisco has more than 17,000 people per square mile, many of these counties have fewer than 10. That's not just empty, it's almost uninhabited by modern standards. 3. The geography barrier. One major reason? Geography. This land isn't flat, it's filled with towering mountain ranges like the Siskiyous and the Southern Cascades. There are deep forests, steep valleys, massive rivers, and snow-covered peaks. Much of the terrain is hard to build on, hard to farm, and hard to even access. And when it comes to transportation, it's a nightmare. Building a straight road through this area is almost impossible. Winding highways, switchbacks, and constant maintenance make infrastructure incredibly expensive. 4. Climate challenges. Now, add the climate. While coastal areas benefit from ocean breezes and moderate temperatures, this region sees cold winters, heavy snowfall in the mountains, and dry, fire-prone summers. It's beautiful, yes, but not exactly friendly to farming or urban development. In many places, snow can block access for days. Wildfires have devastated whole towns. Water scarcity is a growing problem. 5. Historical settlement patterns. Let's go back in time. When settlers arrived in the 1800s during the gold rush, they did reach parts of this region. Towns like Wairika and Ashland sprang up as mining outposts. But unlike the Central Valley or coastal Oregon, the gold here didn't last long. Once the easy minerals were gone, most people left. Towns shrank. Railroads that had been proposed were canceled. Development stopped before it ever really started. 6. The rise and fall of logging. For most of the 20th century, logging became the backbone of this region's economy. Massive forests meant massive timber profits. Entire communities survived by cutting, hauling, and milling lumber. But by the 1980s and 90s, things changed. Environmental concerns grew, regulations tightened, national forests were protected, and automation reduced the number of jobs dramatically. Towns that once thrived started to fade, young people left, and no new industries came to take timber's place. 7. Agriculture and ranching, but limited. What about farming? Well, unlike the Central Valley or Willamette Valley, this region isn't ideal for large-scale agriculture. The soil is rocky, the seasons are short, and the terrain doesn't lend itself to industrial-scale farming. There are ranches and vineyards in pockets, but they're spread out, and they don't employ many people, so it's just not enough to support large towns or cities. 8. Infrastructure and isolation. Let's talk infrastructure. This is where things get even tougher. There are very few major highways through this region. Interstate 5 cuts through it, but even that gets shut down regularly in winter storms. Many towns are an hour or more from the nearest hospital, airport, or supermarket. Power outages, limited internet, and no public transit mean that living here feels very far from modern. 9. The State of Jefferson movement. Frustrated by being overlooked, some people here have proposed a radical idea: breaking away and forming a new state. It's called the State of Jefferson. This movement, first proposed in the 1940s, argues that rural Northern California and Southern Oregon should become their own state, because big cities like Sacramento and Salem don't represent them. They say they're taxed but not served, ignored, left behind. And while the movement has never succeeded legally, its flag still flies over buildings and ranches today. It's a symbol of independence and frustration. 10. culture, and identity. People who live here often value isolation. They want space, freedom, nature, and self-reliance. The region is more politically conservative than the rest of the West Coast. Guns, trucks, hunting, and country music are more common than lattes and tech startups. There's a strong sense of local pride and of being different from California or Oregon's urban centers. This is part of the reason the area stays quiet. The people who live here like it that way. 11. Economic struggles. But this independence comes with a cost. Many communities in this region face high poverty rates, aging populations, and limited job opportunities. Schools and hospitals are underfunded. Drug abuse, especially opioids, has been a growing issue in some counties. When young people graduate, many of them leave and few come back. It's a cycle that's hard to break. 12. Natural beauty and tourism. Despite all this, the region is stunning. From Mount Shasta to Crater Lake, from the Rogue River to the Redwood Forests, it's a dream for outdoor lovers. Hiking, fishing, skiing, rafting, it's all here. Tourism does bring in some money, but not nearly enough to build up big cities, and many visitors prefer to come and go. The region remains a place people admire but don't move to. 13. Fire and climate risk. One of the biggest threats today? Fire. Each summer, wildfires burn thousands of acres. Towns like Paradise have been wiped out in a matter of hours. Climate change is making things worse. Drier summers, hotter days, more wind. In a place already struggling with isolation and limited infrastructure, fires make things even more dangerous and even harder to grow. 14. The remote work hope. But not all is lost. The rise of remote work during COVID gave this region new hope. Suddenly, people didn't need to live in San Francisco to work for a tech company. Some moved to places like Ashland or Mount Shasta, drawn by the lower cost of living, beautiful views, and peace. Could this spark a small revival? Maybe, but it would take investment in broadband, housing, and health services to really work. 15. Renewable energy potential. There's also potential in renewable energy. This region gets a lot of sun in summer and strong wind in the mountains. Solar farms, wind turbines, even small hydro projects could bring in new jobs and clean power. But again, it requires political will, funding, and infrastructure. 16. Will the region stay empty? So will this huge area between San Francisco and Portland remain mostly empty? The short answer? Probably. The combination of tough terrain, limited economy, fire risk, and cultural preference means rapid urbanization is unlikely. And that's okay. Not every part of the country has to look like the Bay Area. The empty West may stay empty, but it still has value, beauty, and stories worth telling. 17. The West Coast is famous for its cities, for its beaches, highways, and crowds. But in between the city lights is a quiet region with forests, mountains, and forgotten towns. It's a place defined by what's not there, by absence. And yet, for the people who call it home, that emptiness is exactly the point. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button and subscribe to Mind of Maps. We bring you fascinating stories about maps, borders, countries, and forgotten places every single week.